Apple releasing the 4-inch iPhone SE wasn't a surprise. It's Apple's way of fighting off the onslaught from lower-cost Android devices, which are taking a huge market share. What was surprising was Apple took most of the specs from the iPhone 6s and crammed into this iPhone 5, iPhone 5s looking body. But is this Frankenphone answering a question anybody's still asking? I'm John Ranger from Techno Buffalo, and this is our review of the iPhone SE. So there's a lot to like about the iPhone SE. The smaller screen size means if you've got tiny hands or regenerating Deadpool baby hands, you can access anywhere you want. No need to double tap the home button to get to the top nav bar. It is easily there and accessible. I also really like that they took the same camera sensor in the iPhone 6s, 12 megapixels, and plunked it in here. It's gonna take great pictures, and now 4K video is also on board. Another few things I like is the build quality. They took one of the best designed iPhones, the 5 and the 5s, the one you've probably given to your mom, dad, or grandma at this point. And the phone just feels nice in the hand. The metal build feels really solid. Picking up in the morning, I like that cold feel to the device. Also, a lot of complaints about Touch ID using old gen technology. It's been really fast. And NFC is here on board as well, so Apple Pay is gonna work. But all is not roses, honeyberries, and unicorns pooping rainbow sorbet. There's a lot not to like about the SE that makes it kind of an incomplete phone for me. Let's start with the screen. I mentioned how nice it is to have that 4-inch screen, but holy low resolution iPhone viewers. You can hardly see anything on there. If you're browsing Facebook, for example, you see maybe 1.5 stories in your newsfeed. Browsing a website, maybe you'll get a paragraph on there if you are lucky. If you're coming from a smaller phone, maybe you don't notice it. But if you're like me, coming from a larger screen phone or high resolution screen phone, you're gonna notice it absolutely immediately. And during my 5 days of testing, I never got used to it. Also, if you're like me too and you use polarized sunglasses, do not expect to see the screen on this guy with any sort of ease. It's just not gonna work. So a phone with a lower resolution screen and a smaller package, you'd expect incredible battery life. If you follow me on social media, you know I've been tweeting a lot about how abysmal battery life has been. I'm having crazy battery drain from the camera, and I cannot figure out why. I've done full restores, I've tried not restoring from backups. Every time I tested it, no matter what I did, battery life was abysmal. Brandon Russell, who tested it and did their written portion, didn't have such issues, and a lot of you on Twitter didn't have the same issues as well, so maybe it's just my experiences. So I mentioned how awesome the rear-facing camera is, or at least awesome that they use the same one from the 6S. It's the flip side with this potato camera on the front. 1.2 megapixels. I don't care if there's retina flash and the screen's gonna light up. 1.2 megapixels and it's 1.2 megapixels. It looks like I'm taking pictures with like an old school Razr VGA camera. It's not good and it's inexcusable at this price point. The iPhone SE for me is a really tough phone to love. It seemed perfect. A smaller phone for someone who's carrying 2 devices all the time was absolutely great. I can have my iOS fix, I can also rock Android, not have just a gigantic bulge in my pocket, or at least more than I usually have. But the lack of battery life and the really low-res screen makes it a hard phone to fall in love with. I can't use a device that I can't trust is gonna get me through a whole day. If I wanna take a selfie with me or maybe my son, I can barely upload this thing to Facebook. It looks so granulated. It's a tough device to love, and because of that, it gets a not buy. Now, Brandon Russell did a written review, had different experiences. He found battery life to be absolutely fine and a front-facing camera to look pretty decent, and said I was blowing way out of proportion. So you're probably gonna fall somewhere in between, perhaps, 2 extremes. But if you're thinking about what phone to get for $400, you can get a lot of other devices out there than the iPhone SE, and you owe yourself to look at those other devices. And if you do, and you still decide what Apple brings is right for you, then pick it up. You're gonna get an iPhone in a smaller package. If you're open to trying other devices, I think you should. Give the video a thumbs up, we always appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, I'm John Ranger from Techno Buffalo. See you guys next video. So I think the SE stands for Special Edition. I think iPhone SE is the Sensual Edition. iPhone SE Sailing Enhanced for GPS. Smoking Endeavor. Smushed Experience. Smaller.
Samurai Edition.
The Samurai Edition. You can like chop out the sword.
Sasquatch.
The Sasquatch, the Squatch Edition.